A manhunt is underway this hour in the United States after the CEO of a major American health insurance company was gunned down in New York City.
New York City police are calling a targeted attack caught on camera in the heart of Manhattan.
Every indication is this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack.
Who did this and why?
You've all probably heard about this case. In December 2024, an insurance CEO is shot in the middle of New York City. At first, the attacker manages to escape. A few days later, this man is arrested, Luigi Mangione. Right now, people believe he is the murderer of United Healthcare's boss, Brian Thompson. At first glance, this might not sound very exciting. A young man shoots a wealthy businessman, runs away, and then gets caught. But this case is very different. There are factors at play that seem strange and fascinating at the same time. And of course, there are all the conspiracy theories that have gone viral since Brian Thompson's murder. But what really happened on December 4th? And why do many Americans see Luigi Mangione not as a cold-blooded killer, but as some kind of national hero? Before we dive in, it's important to mention that we can only go by what's currently known. The investigation is still ongoing at the time of recording. However, so far, it's believed that things happened more or less the way I'm about to tell you. It's assumed that Luigi Mangione arrived in New York City on November 24, 2024. A camera at the Port Authority bus terminal captured him getting off a bus with other passengers, though he appeared to be traveling alone. The bus came from Atlanta and made 6 or 7 stops along the way. Exactly which stop Luigi boarded at is still unclear. Luigi is 26 years old and comes from a wealthy family. His family owns multiple properties and businesses in Maryland. Luigi attended a private school and later earned a master's degree in computer science from a prestigious university. Most recently, he was reportedly living in Hawaii. On the surface, Luigi seemed to lead a comfortable but fairly ordinary life, a young man enjoying the privileges that come with his family's wealth. But in recent years, something about Luigi began to change. This change reached a breaking point when in November 2024, he traveled to New York. After arriving in the city, Luigi first takes a taxi to the Hilton Hotel, the very place where he's suspected of committing murder a few days later. He spends about 30 minutes there, seemingly scouting the location, before taking another taxi to his accommodation, a hostel on Amsterdam Avenue. At the hostel, Luigi shares a room with 2 other men he doesn't know. During his stay, he reportedly wears a face mask at all times. There's little interaction between him and his roommates. Luigi spends the next few days in the city. On December 4th, 2024, Luigi leaves his hostel early in the morning. It's believed he picks up an e-bike around 5:30 a.m. and rides through the city. Near the Hilton Hotel, he stops at a Starbucks and buys breakfast, a bottle of water, and a few granola bars. That morning, the Hilton Hotel is scheduled to host a meeting for United Healthcare. Attending are CEO Brian Thompson and some of the company's most important investors, but the meeting will never happen. At 6:44 a.m., 3 gunshots ring out in front of the Hilton Hotel. Today, it's widely believed that Luigi was the shooter. He allegedly fires 3 close-range shots into the back of 50-year-old Brian Thompson. The entire incident is recorded and later made public. The footage shows the shooter walking just a few steps behind Brian when the first shot hits him in the back. Brian stumbles and tries to take cover behind a pillar, briefly turning to face his attacker. The shooter then fires 2 more shots. A passerby, drinking coffee near the hotel, witnesses everything up close. The CEO collapses on the street right in front of the hotel. The shooter approaches the gravely injured Brian with slow steps, but then crosses the street to the left and picks up his pace. Police later reconstruct Luigi's escape, concluding that he likely used another e-bike to flee towards Central Park. Some media reports claim that his phone was found in a side street near the scene. At the crime scene, only 3 bullet casings are left behind. Each casing has a single word written on it: deny, delay, and depose. It's now believed that these words reference a book with a similar title: Delay, Deny, Defend, which criticizes the insurance industry, a sector where Brian Thompson was a key figure. After being shot, Brian Thompson was rushed to a hospital, but pronounced dead shortly after 7 a.m. He leaves behind a wife and 2 sons. The evidence quickly made it clear that this was a deliberate assassination of the CEO. The surveillance footage shows the shooter aiming specifically at Brian Thompson, even though a witness was standing right beside him. The attacker doesn't even glance at the bystander, focusing entirely on Thompson. Not far from Central Park, another piece of evidence was found: the alleged murderer's backpack. It matched the one seen in the surveillance footage. Inside, police discovered play money. Not just any play money, but Monopoly money. You probably know Monopoly. The goal is to get rich by bankrupting others. If you loosely apply this idea to the real world, companies like United Healthcare profit when people with limited financial means suffer. We'll talk more about that shortly. Following Thompson's murder, a $60,000 reward was announced for anyone who could help identify the killer. However, what followed was not just a massive manhunt for Luigi, but an unprecedented wave of public solidarity with him. While the police search all of New York for the suspected killer, he is being celebrated on the internet. While police worked feverishly to track Luigi down, the public didn't yet know his name. However, everyone knew his face, as police had released surveillance images, launching a large-scale search. Surprisingly, many Americans seemed uninterested in aiding the hunt for the so-called CEO killer. Instead, some celebrated him. In New York City, a CEO killer look-alike contest was held. These contests, where participants compete to look most like a particular celebrity, have become increasingly popular on social media. After contests for people resembling Timothée Chalamet, Paul Mescal, Zendaya, or Jeremy Allen White, December 2024 brought the CEO Killer Lookalike contest. This reaction made one thing clear: few seemed afraid of the fugitive killer. On the contrary, he was being treated like a celebrity. As news of the murder spread, social media exploded with comments. Users congratulated the killer, thanked him, and even offered preemptive alibis. The political division in the US was stark, especially after the November 2024 elections. However, there was surprising unity across party lines on one issue: frustration with the American healthcare system. Many blamed individuals like United Healthcare's CEO Brian Thompson for the system's failures. This explains to some extent the lack of sympathy for Thompson after his death. But in this case, public sentiment reached extreme levels. The still unknown killer was celebrated as a sort of Robin Hood figure. Supporters defended his actions and shared their own horror stories about the healthcare system. As you probably know, the US healthcare system operates very differently from others, such as those in Europe. Insurance companies like United Healthcare have long been criticized and in some cases investigated by authorities. Brian Thompson had served as CEO of United Healthcare, part of the United Healthcare Group, since 2021. In 2023 alone, the group generated over $281 billion in revenue. Under Thompson's leadership, United Healthcare's profits rose from $12 billion to $16 billion, but at the expense of the insured. At United Healthcare, there's recently been a very specific scandal. Under Thompson's leadership, United Healthcare implemented an AI system to handle claims automatically. This AI system sent mass rejections without reviewing individual cases. The most shocking part? The company reportedly knew that the AI had a 90% error rate. This error rate meant that many insured individuals were denied medical care, or were left with astronomical bills. This issue applies even to life-saving or doctor-ordered treatments. A standard procedure like a hip replacement can cost as much as $40,000 in the US, And even if someone has health insurance, such as through United Healthcare, that doesn't mean the entire $40,000 will be covered. By comparison, a hip replacement in Germany costs about €5,000, with expenses typically fully covered by health insurance. For an American citizen, being forced to pay $10,000 out of pocket for a necessary procedure can mean financial ruin. Meanwhile, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson took home millions of dollars in bonuses annually. This disparity has fueled widespread anger toward the U.S. healthcare system, regardless of political affiliation. The contracts Americans sign with insurers like United Healthcare are often so complex and convoluted that the system becomes nearly impossible to navigate. Even with insurance, it's a challenge to secure financial assistance for treatments, whether for severe illnesses or emergencies. This explains at least in part the widespread support Luigi Mangione has received for his alleged actions, even before his identity was known. But the public frenzy reaches entirely new levels when Mangione is finally arrested. On the morning of December 9th, police were called to a McDonald's restaurant in Altoona, Pennsylvania. An employee was convinced he recognized a customer as the CEO killer. Before we continue this extremely exciting case, though, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the channel. As a very new creator, this would help me a lot. Thank you so much. Now, let's get back to the case. The man had ordered hash browns and was sitting alone at a two-person table. Just like the man in the wanted photos, he was wearing a face mask. Police arrived and arrested Luigi Mangione on the spot. By that evening, he was officially named the suspect in the murder of Brian Thompson. When Luigi Mangione was arrested, he was carrying a fake driver's license, a 3D printed firearm, and a written document. The media quickly labeled the document a manifesto against the U.S. healthcare system. Multiple versions of this manifesto have since circulated online, though it remains unclear if any of them are authentic. According to police, the document allegedly states, "I apologize for any inconvenience and trauma, but this had to be done." When arrested, Luigi Mangione has no prior criminal record. As mentioned earlier, he came from a privileged background and led an uneventful life, at least until recently. In mid-November 2024, Luigi's mother reported him missing after months of no contact. He had reportedly been living in Hawaii, recovering from back surgery performed in the summer of 2023. This surgery left him physically and mentally shaken. Suffering from chronic back pain, Luigi struggled with daily life and became increasingly isolated. After the incident, Luigi's Goodreads account was discovered. It showed that he had been reading books about managing chronic pain, along with the manifesto of Ted Kaczynski, the so-called Unabomber, who carried out a series of bombings as a critique of modern society and technology. In his review of Kaczynski's manifesto, Luigi wrote, "The Unabomber is rightly imprisoned. However, the phrase 'violence is not the answer' comes from cowards and predators. When all other forms of communication fail, violence becomes necessary for survival. You may dislike his methods, but from his perspective, he isn't a terrorist. He's a soldier in a war, a revolution." If Luigi Mangione is indeed the killer of the insurance CEO, he may view his act as a part of a similar revolution. It's unclear why Luigi specifically targeted Brian Thompson. Mangione was not insured by United Healthcare, so his motive likely wasn't rooted in personal grievances. Instead, his hatred seems directed at the system as a whole. United Healthcare is the fifth largest revenue-generating corporation in the United States, and the assassination of its CEO in broad daylight drew widespread attention. It also ignited a nationwide debate about the healthcare system. However, it's unlikely Luigi foresaw the massive impact his actions would have. While Luigi sits in custody, the murder of Brian Thompson remains a hot topic, particularly on platforms like TikTok and Reddit. Countless conspiracy theories have emerged. But could it be that Luigi Mangione really staged the murder of the insurance CEO according to a perfect plan? And is he perhaps even consciously, in the truest sense of the word, playing a game with justice? One of the most popular theories revolves around the number 286. More on that in a moment. Of course, much of this speculation is far-fetched and likely untrue. Yet the sheer volume of theories highlights the cultural impact of the case and society's reaction to it. Given the fact that the murder has become a public phenomenon, it is almost inevitable to browse through the comments sections on Reddit and other platforms. As previously mentioned, much of this consists of theories and not proven facts. Not long after the incident, users uncovered Luigi's old profiles, sparking even more speculation. On his X profile, Luigi had a Pokemon as his account banner, Breloom. This Pokemon has the Pokedex number 286, a detail that has puzzled many internet detectives. The number 286 seems more than just a coincidence. In the American healthcare system, Code 286 refers to refusing treatment after a certain deadline is passed. Luigi's X profile had exactly 286 posts. The McDonald's in Altoona, where Luigi was arrested, is about 286 miles from the Hilton Hotel in New York City, the place where Brian Thompson was shot. The police found Monopoly money in Luigi's backpack. Some people think that's not a coincidence either. One of the 4 railroads in Monopoly is the Pennsylvania Railroad. The real-life equivalent is in... you can guess it. Right, Altoona, the exact location where Luigi was arrested. McDonald's often runs Monopoly promotions where customers collect stickers to win prizes. Some believe Luigi not only planned the murder, but also his arrest at McDonald's, like a kind of real-life Monopoly. After all, in Monopoly you can also go to jail. After Luigi's arrest, a YouTube channel called Luigi Mangione caused a stir. The channel had the same layout as his X profile. One video titled "The Truth" grabbed attention. In the video, there was a countdown and a message. "If you see this, I'm already under arrest." When the countdown ended, the screen went black, and the words "soon" appeared in the corner, along with the date December 11th, and the message, "All is scheduled. Be patient. Bye for now." This video sparked a wave of speculation on every social media platform. But whether it was really from Luigi is unclear. A YouTube spokesperson said the channel was removed for impersonation. Apparently, it was created and edited after Luigi's arrest. This theory could therefore be disproven. Still, Luigi Mangione has become an online sensation, especially on platforms like TikTok and Reddit. Some theories even suggest Luigi might be innocent. Critics argue that the person in the wanted photos doesn't look like Luigi. Others claim the police used Luigi as a scapegoat for Brian Thompson's murder. Through his lawyer, Luigi has announced that he will plead not guilty. The murder case remains a huge topic of discussion in the US, particularly because of the underlying problems in the healthcare system. Many fear there could be copycats if no major reforms are made. The murder of Brian Thompson has sparked both outrage and admiration, an unusual mix. Luigi Mangione's glorification shows how much the healthcare system weighs on people. What do you think about the case? Do you see Luigi as a revolutionary figure or a cold-blooded murderer? Can you understand the support he's getting, or do you think it's too much? I'm looking forward to your opinions in the comments. If you like this topic, give it a like and subscribe to Truthscape for more interesting true crime content. Here we go to the next case, possibly the most attractive killer ever. A story full of love, lies, and lust sparked one of the most popular cases of all time. Take care of yourselves.